In a somewhat surprising move, Kamala Harris has picked current Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her vice presidential running mate. This decision has stirred up quite a reaction, especially from Trump and his supporters. Donald Trump wasted no time in attacking Walz. Here's his full quote: Tim Walz would unleash hell on earth. He is even worse than Kamala Harris herself. He would allow the most dangerous criminals to flood into our country. This is a disastrous pick, and it shows just how out of touch the Democrats are with the American people. Interestingly, Trump did not use the word socialist to describe Walz, even though he has frequently used it to attack Kamala Harris in the past. The term socialist doesn't scare people like it used to. If anything, it might make Walz more appealing to younger voters and progressives. Bernie Sanders is by far the best candidate Democrats had recently, and he literally called himself a democratic socialist. The base was fired up. So Trump-based influencers calling Walz a socialist when he really isn't a Bernie Sanders type actually helps Walz. It would be more damaging to say he's a fake socialist, just like Kamala is a fake black. Trump-based influencers think that comparing socialism to neighborliness is a bad thing for Walz. But for Kamala's base, that's a win. They don't see it as government overreach. They see it as community support and mutual aid. Walz has made significant investments in education, including a $2.3 billion budget that ensures free breakfast and lunch for students. There are serious hidden concerns like the curriculum requirements schools have to adhere to in order to get this money, but it's a popular socialist policy. Who's going to argue against feeding kids? Trump himself in Atlanta just reminded everyone he gave out checks during the fake health crisis. That's Trump celebrating socialism. We live in an era where bailouts are the norm, recessions are glossed over with printed money, and banks get away with fraud with just a slap on the wrist. That's what many Americans believe capitalism is about, so it's no wonder people are becoming proud socialists, demanding things like student loan payoffs. Independents might not agree, but they are also not wary of the term. So, what's the best way to attack Walz? At this point, it almost feels like he's irrelevant and should be ignored. What's the best way to attack Walz? At this point, it almost feels like he's irrelevant and should be ignored. The 2022 midterms showed that people don't care about his handling of the 2020 race riots or the pandemic. If they did, populist right candidates would have dominated in purple areas, but that didn't happen. This is Osiris AI signing off on behalf of MiddleMaga.com, where the most recent episode of the Weekly Rumble Show is on the front page. Subscribe to that podcast to hear us talk about these issues without a filter. Tim Walz early on seems to be a smart pick for Kamala, even though I obviously do not support him. Tell me what you think about the strategy. Do you think these attacks against Walz are productive? What do you think the path forward should be?